So how about Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos no longer winless as they go into Chicago? They were down 21 points with late in the, you see it right here on the screen, 20 seconds left in the third quarter, down 21 points. So it wasn't quite a 21-point fourth quarter comeback because they would score on this play where the way it's going to work is Jerry Jeudy, that's the route you want to see. They want to get open where Judy's in motion, going to run, just to get just into the end zone towards the offense's right. Watch as Russell Wilson's going to, runs a play action, looks over there. He just doesn't love what he sees, and I can see why. There is a Chicago player who's quickly approaching. I think it's probably the right call to not make this throw. I just don't think that would be a completion. So Russell Wilson says, okay, let's look somewhere else. Watch as Wilson then gets over to that read, which is definitely open. The issue is it's not necessarily open right this second. It looks like it's about to get open, but there's traffic over the middle. So it's one of those this is a play that's going to be open. It just currently isn't. And so Wilson gonna do the smart thing here. Watch him kind of wait a little bit and then make the throw. That's Brandon Johnson, the guy who he's gonna make this completion for and get the touchdown. So good stuff there. But that's that's how this play was able to work, is the patience and just the awareness of the field. Russell Wilson, I feel like it's almost gotten lost in history. Russell Wilson, when he was at his best in Seattle, was a very good, he had very good field vision and was a very good game manager. He wasn't just this guy who had to get outside the pocket and run and throw downfield. He could do stuff like this, and we saw flashes of it. Now, there's stuff like this too, where people are going to bring it up. Yeah, sure, he looked solid, but he was playing the Chicago Bears. Who cares, if he looked solid or not? I think that's very fair. I really do. I think that there's definitely some plays where the Bears defense just did not look great. And again, you got to take advantage of your opponent's mistakes. But and I think this is an example of that happening, of taking advantage of your opponent's mistakes. Where for Chicago, they're playing man coverage right here. So kind of, mixing things up a little bit by kind of selling as though it's not what they're doing, but it's going to be what they're doing. But one thing worth noting, and the main thing worth noting, is that with Jerry Jeudy, who's running a slant route, you see how far off the corner is. The reality is, Chicago doesn't really cover very well. They don't really have a lot of guys in the secondary who can cover. And so what do you do if you can't cover? Well, you line up further away because you're trying to not get beat deep and you need more space. But in doing that, you're also basically just guaranteeing that you're going to get beat over the middle as well. Watch as when Russell Wilson takes a snap, he's going to fire over. I mean, you just see how much space there was there. And, it's kind of one of those situations where it gets set up because, Denver's doing such a good job of moving the football that you then, feel like you can't just play press coverage. You can't go too aggressive. This is Tyreek Stevenson who's covering Jerry Jeudy. That's a mismatch. Tyreek Stevenson currently in his first season, he was a second round pick, so it's not like they expected nothing from him or anything like that. But it's a mismatch. A rookie going up against an opposing team's number one receiver, and so he's playing that far off, and because of that, you see Russell Wilson take advantage. Also, something like this so this took me a minute to realize what was happening. I believe this actually is just man coverage. I thought this was zone for a while, and here's why. Because watch how when Wilson takes the snap, you're going to see that he scrambles out a little bit and then fires down the field. And you see how open this receiver is. I assumed this was a cover 2 or a cover 3, but I believe the way everyone else is playing it, I think this was just a one-on-one matchup, and you just saw some really good stuff by Jerry Jeudy to be able to get as open as he got. I could be wrong. I'm not sure, because again, we don't have all 22 yet. Still doing the broadcast footage. Regardless, though, getting players wide open is obviously a good thing. Russell Wilson able to make this throw. And again, it goes both ways, right? On one hand, you could sit here and say, well, it's just the Bears defense. Anyone could do well in this situation. But at the same time, last year, Russell Wilson wasn't doing well in this situation. And, I kind of brought up last week. It was weird how last week everyone kind of said, oh, maybe the Broncos should bench Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson's been good this year. I don't know if he's been amazing. He's still not worth what he's been getting paid. You kind of have to be amazing to be worth that contract, and he hasn't necessarily been that. But I think he's been actively good. you look at the 4 games. This game, I thought he was good. Against Miami, I thought he was good. The game just, got out of hand quickly. Washington versus Denver, he was good in that game. And even the Broncos versus the Raiders, that score was low scoring, but there were only 6 possessions. So his points per drive was good in that one as well. And like going over here, again, you want to say situation all you want. Well, let's talk about when, Chicago did have better defensive plays, which did happen. They do have NFL players, so it's not like every single play you had someone wide open. This is the key play, 3rd down and 9, trying to make it a 1-score game with 9 minutes left. If they don't get this play, it's going to be really hard to win this game. But you can see how they could get it to work. You do have a receiver who's going to run over the middle in this zone coverage play. Russell Wilson takes the snap, and I would say Chicago plays this one pretty well. I mean, the linebacker's reaching out, trying to make sure if he can, knock that ball away. This is going to have to be a really well-timed and accurate throw from Wilson. However, it is exactly both of those things, and they're able to get a touchdown to Courtland Sutton on that play, not Cameron Sutton, like I called him on a previous video by mistake, Courtland Sutton. But yeah, I mean, it's good stuff by Russell Wilson to take advantage of the Bears' mistakes and to be able to make good throws. And talking about one more, taking advantage of Chicago's mistakes. This final play, so the Bears could have potentially taken the lead, chose not to, went for it and didn't get it. I don't know. To me, this is almost as egregious of a mistake where I believe what they're doing here is they're just playing cover 2 zone. No team like Chicago do I have to say, I believe what they're doing here is, because it seems like a lot of times I'm not exactly sure because it seems like the players aren't exactly sure sometimes, but this looks to be a cover 2 zone. But the safety, I mean, look at how far the safety who's covering the bottom of the screen, you can see him on the screen right here. He's at the hash marks. So like, he's very far up there. So, okay, deep route. This route can get open on cover 2 anyway, but hopefully you have a defender who kind of reads it and is able to take that away. However, when Wilson takes the snap, he's going to look in that direction. He fires in that direction, and you see right here, I mean, Chicago just not taking this area away at all. This is crazily open. This is so open right now. Given this situation, like there's no way this should be happening. Like, how do you let this happen? Wilson's throw right on the money. Marvin Mims makes the catch and makes a move in open space, gets them in field goal range. That play won them the game, basically. And, yeah, it was kind of a negative by Chicago. That did happen. One of the best things to happen to Russell Wilson this week was he got to play the Chicago Bears defense. There's no denying that. But what do I take away from all of this? Am I willing to say Russell Wilson is all the way back? Like I said, I think he's playing good football, and I think he is far from the issue. His play is far from the issue for Denver right now. Now, at the same time, again, it kind of goes with if you're paying a quarterback big money, you're going to have tougher situations, and your team isn't going to be as good. That's a part of it. I understand it. I get it. And I'm not even necessarily saying that, Denver is in a great spot with him, but I am saying that heading into this year, it felt reasonably plausible that they were going to be paying a quarterback huge money who wasn't even good at football. The reality is, we know that that's not the case. He is playing good football, and I think the silliness of people saying that he should be benched last week was, it was just, I don't know. I don't fully get it. I mean, I understand it's a story to say, but it didn't make sense to me because he hasn't been bad. He hasn't. I still don't know what the ceiling is of this team. I don't know if this is something they can turn around here because, again, this defense we thought was going to be great and has been terrible. I mean, they have no secondary corners, really. I mean, outside of Patrick Surtain, they need another corner to step up, and they don't have that right now instead of really struggling. In my opinion, that's their biggest weakness. There's some other weaknesses too, but I think that's really where they're struggling. Until they get that fixed, nothing's going to happen. But Wilson, he's playing good football right now, I think. Yes, admittedly, against a tough defense, but even without that, I thought he was playing good football before this week, so that's kind of how I view it. But yeah, that's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.